military had dog tags like this, we'd never have to reinstate the draft. It's Trigon time.
Focus Plumbing, always at your fingertips.
Pow! Danny Vegas time, Danny Vegas world, segment 2. We are getting into the $500,000 of the show.
It's exciting.
My wife loves today.
I'm moving soon. I could use some moving money.
That's right. You are moving soon.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
nobody's
what
going to
I-
know what my address is anymore.
I'm
been-
not going to know where you live.
Well, you could know.
Oh, cool.
You're safe.
Oh, really?
You're safe. But the general people, no, yeah, absolutely. I've been way too much of an open book, and
Oh,
I've
yeah.
learned my lesson.
Oh, yeah.
My last
certainly
delivery to my house, secret delivery to my house.
No more
from-
secret deliveries. We're
from
not even going to go
Amazon.
there,
Yeah.
Sharp Tank.
Don't
but,
send me weird stuff on Amazon, you freaking weirdo.
I know, the shipping cost on that stuff's killer. Okay. All right. For all you people
My
chiming in,
fan
thank
club.
you. Amy Matthews says, I'm a soccer dad by day, player
Player
by
by night.
Am I a player?
No, just your image as a
I'm
player.
retired.
Your alter ego is a player. We
I'm
all
a retired
have
player.
Yeah. I know what you're doing at night, which is at home with your kids and the 2 cats and the dog and
Yeah, but I used to be a player.
cleaning dishes.
I used
The
to
only
be.
place that
Oh,
you play is in
bitching
the
about
is
them
in the
sinks,
dawn
man.
bubbles in the sinks.
Every damn day the sink is just full of dishes and it makes me mad, but I'm a player. But anyway, okay, and we actually have Regina saying Danielle Ford for CCSD School Board Trustee in
There you
District
go.
F. Thank you. We just had a great segment on Danielle. I hope she likes it, or I'm sure I want to hear about it. Okay, all right, I want to get into something serious.
Okay, serious.
Okay,
I'll put my serious hat
put
on.
your serious hat on because I'm going to get in trouble again.
Uh-oh.
I'm a bad man. I'm a bad man. Okay, we've had a couple high-profile suicides lately,
Okay.
and I get in trouble. I'm a bad man. I mean, the last time I talked about standing in line on the first at a grocery store, you think I, literally.
You think you were running over welfare recipients
yeah, you
with
think
your
I was,
Mercedes. None of that is true.
Yeah, you think I was, putting antifreeze in their Kool-Aid. Anyway, I got in something else I'm also going to get in trouble about.
Okay.
Now, I think, with Robin Williams killing himself a couple of years ago, the first backlash was like, I think we're starting to learn that it doesn't matter how much money you have or
Correct.
how great a life that you think, well, we
think you
normal,
have.
only $1 million show people make, the question is for me, and it's still hard not to think this way. Especially, I don't know anything about the designer, okay? Granted, the lady designer, I guess she committed
Kate
suicide.
Spade.
Yeah, everybody buys her stuff. I don't know anything about her. Now, the other cat,
Anthony Bourdain.
that's right. Here's the thing that, am I a bad man? Because right now, as we speak, there are children in cancer hospitals being eaten alive by a disease. And they are, at this very second, one is drawing its last breath. Mm-hmm. And they would do anything to have this guy's life. And he just wasted it. Now, I know, and I think Christine Aldon had a great post about suicide is the ultimate coping mechanism. I think that made a lot of sense. It's the kind of, I read it, but she's very smart, and I
Okay.
barely got out of high school, so me kind of read that stuff.
I'm going to see if I can find it because
But-
that sounds disturbing.
But am I a bad man for literally, because you hear all the posts, oh, this guy was so great, and he's so cool. You know what, I have to ask, like my wife said, the guy went around the world eating at restaurants in third world countries where he probably solved an unbelievable poverty. And I have to ask, am I bad for saying, dude, don't you realize that whatever problems you have value because there's other people who would give their life and are giving their lives so that you can have yours? And am I bad for thinking that way?
Well, again, I think the premise is the perceived life, what the life is that he had, and what were the underlying reasons that he committed suicide, why he took his own life. No one can say, because we're not in his shoes.
Well, granted, you're right.
And I gotta say though, when you start with the premise and talk about the children in cancer hospitals that are dying, and I'm certainly no expert on suicide, but there's would seem to be, when there is not like a Kevorkian thing where you're choosing to end your life to avoid suffering, there is something else that's going on.
Right.
Mental health illness, which is a disease, there's something else that's going on, and you just don't know.
And it's true. And I like I said, am I bad for thinking this way? Because I have learned that, like I said, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how glorified of a life that you have or are perceived to have, because that's half it.
Okay.
We normal folks, we struggle every day. Okay, is the rent going to be paid on time? Our struggles are so real, and they're every day. And we look at people and we admire people who don't have to deal with the, am I going to be able to pay the mortgage this week? We admire people like that, not because we admire them as people. We admire the situation that they live in. And when they do things like commit suicide, we just sit there. Our first reaction is, what in the world are you doing? You have the world by the balls. I'm struggling here with $40 for 3 days, and you spend more money on that on one glass of wine. What?
Well, just like you said, money is not the root of all evil, and it's certainly not the key to happiness. And you do not know what someone's burdens are until you are carrying them. And thank God you haven't been in a position to carry the burdens that Anthony Bourdain or whoever takes their lives. I mean, there's a statistic that floats out there.
Right.
There are an average of 22 veterans who take their life every single day because of whatever it might be, whether it be mental illness, whether it be pain, whether it be post-traumatic stress disorder. We just don't know, and it's an issue, and it's a concern. I coincidentally have a new client that I'm taking on. Hopefully I'm taking her on. She's amazing. She's opening a new mental health clinic in town called A Beautiful Mind, and her background and her specialty has been adolescence, and in particular suicide prevention and therapy post these traumatic events when it happens in a family. And I would love to invite her on and to get into it.
Because I think you're right. I mean, I have learned over the last few years that, where maybe 5 years ago, I just what's wrong with you? And obviously now, with these high-profile suicides, there just has to be.
Well, I think we have several components that are happening too. When you're trying to digest this, it's not just, what was happening with this celebrity that would have him do this, because he does have this incredible life seemingly. But it also has to do with how country deals with things that are out of our control and deals with grief. And that's something maybe we can, maybe Dr. Donaldson on the Solace Club show will address, because how you react to it. If suicide makes you angry, if it makes you sad, whatever it is, there's always, it's complicated. We are complicated spirits. We are complicated people. I pulled up Christine Aldan's quote, and since you kind of quoted it before, I would like to do justice for her and read what she wrote.
43 seconds. Go.
Okay. So Christina Aldan wrote on June 12th, "Well, we can't call it trauma, but it is so much more than that term can allow, because it's so often laced into the daily traumas that informed our everyday sense of the world. It forms into a brain of imperfection and imperfect coping mechanisms, things that we think will give us the answers to life's problems, but ultimately won't. And when they finally crash and burn, we start burning in a way that we never thought was possible. So we realize that when these coping mechanisms inadvertently created the suicidal instinct as well, which is only the most perfect and silencing coping mechanisms of them all." Now, she had this in quotes, so this was someone else's
Right.
quote. I'm not sure. It's a picture of Anthony Bourdain in there, so it's an interesting thought, and to
Right.
to get into it. I don't like the thought of suicide being referred to as a coping mechanism, because I think it's a mechanism that you use when you can no longer cope,
Wow.
and when you think your options are limited. And I have to put it out there. If you are watching this and you are thinking of coping in this final way, there is a suicide prevention line, and I'm going to pull it up real
Okay.
quick. You you sprung this on me really quick.
That's the whole idea. That's how
well,
we
I
earn
know,
our
but then
$1 million.
I couldn't get it ready, and I feel
Okay.
like it's a disservice to
Right.
not end this without the
Right.
suicide prevention line. So if you are dealing with anything like this, I want you to take note of this number or Google it. It's 1-800-273-8255. There's help out there.
Right.
There's someone that listens, and that someone will care. And what you think, think about your last horrible thing that happened, and you thought that it was done and it was all over and you're never going to recover. Yet you're here now. There's always
Okay.
something more.
All right. Here's the cool thing. I want to take an extra minute because I don't want this dark cloud over. We have a big time guest coming up on segment
Yeah,
3.
we're gonna have to have her burn some sage in here.
So anyway, so we have a great guest coming up on segment 3. This is such a cool thing. You're gonna want to hear about it. You're gonna want to love it because I love it. And if you love Danny Vegas, you're gonna love this. We will be back right after this, segment 3.